Welcome to Jersey Reads the Classics, an audiobook podcast delving into the finest works of our literary masters. Unfortunately, it's read by this woman.
What the hell? Who cares? Let's go on an adventure.
Hello, and welcome back to Jersey Reads the Classics with me, your host, Rosa D. Candia. Well, my friends, we are just moving and grooving along, so without any further ado, let's move on to The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. We are now reading Chapter 6, The Cowardly Lion. All this time, Dorothy and her companions had been walking through the thick woods. The road was still paved with yellow brick, but these were much covered by dried branches and dead leaves from the trees, and the walking was not at all good. There were few birds in this part of the forest, for birds love the open country where there is plenty of sunshine. Who doesn't love sunshine? Hello, I live in California. I love sunshine, but you know what? I don't mind the cloudy days either. Not gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need to change that shit up. But now and then there came a deep growl from some wild animal hidden among the trees. These sounds made the little girl's heart beat fast, for she did not know what made them. But Toto knew, and he walked close to Dorothy's side and did not even bark in return. Animals always know, they have that sixth sense. How long will it be, the child asked of the Tin Woodman, before we are out of the forest? I cannot tell, was the answer, for I have never been to the Emerald City. But my father went there once when I was a boy, and he said it was a long journey through a dangerous country. We've been told this 1,000 times. Although nearer to the city where Oz dwells, the country is beautiful. But I'm not afraid so long as I have my oil can, and nothing can hurt the Scarecrow while you bear upon your forehead the mark of the Good Witch's kiss, and that will protect you from harm. All right, so they're all saddled with good stuff. This is good to know. As we know, Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman are not flesh and blood, and Dorothy is protected from Glinda, even though they don't give her a name. She's called Galinda, I think, in the movie. Galinda the Good Witch. But Toto, said the girl anxiously, what will protect him? We must protect him ourselves if he is in danger, replied the Tin Woodman. Just as he spoke, there came from the forest a terrible roar. At this moment, a great lion bounded into the road. With one blow of his paw, he sent the Scarecrow spinning over and over to the edge of the road, and then he struck at the Tin Woodman with his sharp claws. But to the lion's surprise, he could make no impression on the tin, although the woodman fell over in the road and lay still. Little Toto, now that he had an enemy to face, ran barking toward the lion, and the great beast had opened his mouth to bite the dog when Dorothy, fearing Toto would be killed and heedless of danger, rushed forward and slapped the lion upon his nose as hard as she could, while she cried out, "Don't you dare to bite Toto! You ought to be ashamed of yourself. A big beast like you to bite a poor little dog." "Well, I didn't bite him," said the lion as he rubbed his nose with his paw where Dorothy had hit it. "No, but you tried to," she retorted. "You are nothing but a big coward." "I know it," said the lion, hanging his head in shame. "I've always known it, but how can I help it? You know when they say that the bark is bigger than the bite, right? That's exactly what the lion, he did this big roar. Now, a little girl just snapped him on the friggin' head, and he can't deal with it. Okay, lion. Okay, we see where you're going with this, lion. Okay. I don't know, I'm sure, to think of you striking a stuffed man like the poor Scarecrow. Is he stuffed? Asked the lion in surprise, as he watched her pick up the Scarecrow and set him upon his feet while she patted him into shape again. Of course he's stuffed, replied Dorothy, who was still angry. That's why he went over so easily, remarked the lion. It astonished me to see him whirl around so. Is the other one stuffed also? No, said Dorothy. He's made of tin, and she helped the woodman up again. That's why he nearly blunted my claws, said the lion. When they scratched against the tin, it made a cold shiver run down my back. What is that little animal you are so tender of? He is my dog Toto, answered Dorothy. Is he made of tin or stuffed? Asked the lion. Neither. He's a meat dog, said the girl. That's funny. Toto is a meat dog. That's hysterical. He's a meat dog. Not to be confused with a hot dog. Hello. Yes, you know me and those terrible puns. Oh, good lordy. Oh, he's a curious animal and seems remarkably small, now that I look at him. No one would think of biting such a little thing, except Except a coward like me, continued the lion sadly. What makes you a coward? Asked Dorothy, looking at the great beast in wonder, for he was as big as a small horse. It's a mystery, replied the lion. I suppose I was born that way. Baby, you were born this way. All the other animals in the forest naturally expect me to be brave, for the lion is everywhere thought to be the king of the beasts. I learned that if I roared very loudly, every living thing was frightened and got out of my way. Whenever I've met a man, I've been awfully scared, but I just roared at him, and he has always run away as fast as he could go. If the elephants and the tigers and the bears had ever tried to fight me, I should have run myself. I'm such a coward, but just as soon as they hear me roar, they all try to get away from me, and of course, I let them go. Okay, lion, listen, he's got to do what he's got to do, and this poor thing, he's got some problems. I think he needs some therapy. Don't they all need therapy? I think he could be another Captain Hook almost, even though the lion looks like he's a nice man. I think Captain Hook was good too. I still have a crush on that Captain Hook. I gotta let that go. Maybe I need therapy. I've discussed it about Captain Hook. All right. But that isn't right. The king of beasts shouldn't be a coward, said the Scarecrow. I know it, returned the lion, wiping a tear from his eye with the tip of his tail. It is my greatest sorrow and makes my life very unhappy. But whenever there is danger, my heart begins to beat fast. Perhaps you have heart disease, said the Tin Woodman. It may be, said the lion. If you have, continued the Tin Woodman, you ought to be glad, for it proves you have a heart. For my part, I have no heart, so I cannot have heart disease. Perhaps, said the lion thoughtfully, if I had no heart, I should not be a coward. Have you brains? Asked the Scarecrow. I suppose so. I never looked to see, replied the lion. I am going to the Great Oz to ask him to give me some, remarked the Scarecrow, for my head is stuffed with straw. And I am going to ask him to give me a heart, said the Woodman. And I am going to ask him to send Toto and me back to Kansas, added Dorothy. Do you think Oz could give me courage? Asked the Cowardly Lion. Just as easily as he could give me brains, said the Scarecrow. Or give me a heart, said the Tin Woodman. Or send me back to Kansas, said Dorothy. Then, if you don't mind, I'll go with you, said the lion, for my life is simply unbearable without a bit of courage. You will be very welcome, answered Dorothy, for you will help to keep away the other wild beasts. It seems to me they must be more cowardly than you are if they allow you to scare them so easily. Ain't that the truth? They really are, said the lion, but it doesn't make me any braver, and as long as I know myself to be a coward, I shall be unhappy. So once more the little company set off upon the journey, the lion walking with stately strides at Dorothy's side. Toto did not approve of this new comrade at first. He never approves of these new comrades at first, and then all of a sudden, let's see, for he could not forget how nearly he had been crushed between the lion's great jaws. But after a time he became more at ease, and presently Toto and the Cowardly Lion had grown to be good friends. You see, Toto at first didn't like the Scarecrow. Toto at first didn't like the Tin Woodman. Of course, all right, I could see why he didn't like the lion at first, because the dude tried to friggin' eat him. But then he becomes like buddies with them. I still wish that Toto could talk. I don't understand, even though this land is magical, why Toto's not talking. Do we understand that? Does that make sense? Like, to me, it doesn't make sense that he doesn't talk, because they're in a different country. Like, it's magical. Everybody else is talking. I don't get it. I don't know why I'm harping on it. That's another problem. You know, when you just fixate on something? Please, I'm just fixating on it. Now, I just need to go on to where I was. Okay. During the rest of that day, there was no other adventure to mar the peace of their journey. Once, indeed, the Tin Woodman stepped upon a beetle that was crawling along the road and killed the poor little thing. This made the Tin Woodman very unhappy, for he was always careful not to hurt any living creature. As he walked along, he wept several tears of sorrow and regret. These tears ran slowly down his face and over the hinges of his jaw, and there they rusted. When Dorothy presently asked him a question, the Tin Woodman could not open his mouth, for his jaws were tightly rusted together. He became greatly frightened at this and made many motions to Dorothy to relieve him, but she could not understand. The lion was also puzzled to know what was wrong, but the Scarecrow seized the oil can from Dorothy's basket and oiled the Woodman's jaws so that after a few moments he could talk as well as before. This will serve me a lesson, said he, to look where I step. For if I should kill another bug or beetle, I should surely cry again, and crying rusts my jaws so that I cannot speak. Thereafter, he walked very carefully with his eyes on the road, and when he saw a tiny ant toiling by, he would step over it so as not to harm it. The Tin Woodman knew very well he had no heart, and therefore he took great care never to be cruel or unkind to anything. Cruel to be kind in the right number, cruel to be kind is a very good do. It's an old song by Nick Lowe. You got to be cruel to be kind. I think it's the 80s. Anyway, you people with hearts, he said, have something to guide you and need never do wrong. But I have no heart, and so I must be very careful. When Oz gives me a heart, of course, I needn't mind so much. Oh, that was a quickie. Oh, well, let's look at this. Their little gang is just growing and growing and growing. I know this is the end of their little gang because that's what it is in the movie, but I've never read the book. But the point is this. I think it's interesting. We're realizing that each one of them already has, well, we just met the Cowardly Lion, but we realized Scarecrow has brains because he knew that the Tin Men needed to get oiled. So, and Dorothy was like, huh. And we now know that the Tin Woodman has a heart because he's crying just even stepping on a bug. And I think it's funny when he says, you humans that have hearts don't have to worry about this. How many humans do we know that we think they have hearts, but they really are heartless, okay? So that's the whole point. Sometimes people have organs like a brain or a heart and don't use them. That's the thing. So what I think I can glean from this little short mini chapter is the fact that you notice how they're all vibing that they're missing something. So they're vibing out because they're just like, okay, I need to go home. I need a heart. I need a brain. And suddenly they make a new friend. And this new friend needs courage. Now, once again, your vibe attracts your tribe. He could have been a lion that could have been, maybe he didn't lack courage, but he could have tried to eat them and then just been like, you know what? I'm really not hungry. I'm moving along. But the point of the story is, for me, this chapter is your vibe attracts your tribe. And the fact that each one of them thinks they're missing something, it's interesting that they're attracting each other. But what it also shows to me is that in your times of need, you do attract and you do get the things that you do need. Because here's Dorothy. She started out in the journey just like yourself. The journey of life is by yourself, right? And then you have your comrades, which at first are maybe your parents. If it's not your parents, it could be grandparents, aunt and uncle, whoever raised you. I don't know. But it's like your community. It could be the kids at school. It could be extended family. It can be wonderful friends. And what happens through your life, you go through different aspects of your life and different parts of your journey, right? And have you ever noticed that you attract certain people that are there to mirror whatever you're going through, in the sense of they're there to be a comrade, someone that you can keep, put your head on their shoulder. Now, sometimes you may be in a situation where you don't have that. And that's also for our growth. It's hard to digest that. But the point is this. It's just interesting how in life that no matter what you're putting out there, when you're in need of something or you are vibing a certain way, you attract that. So I do want you to think about, or I'm going to encourage you to think about the times in your life that you were going through shit, right? And you were vibing out in that frequency. Now, when I say going through shit, like whatever that stuff is, and suddenly you made an acquaintance with somebody, and this person kind of really understood what you were going through. Maybe they had gone through it, or maybe they're going through something in the same kind of way, and you guys bonded over it, right? And then you go through the journey of this, and then both things clear up, and then suddenly the friendship just disintegrates. Not that there was a fight or anything, you just lose touch. I mean, I've had that. I had it with a woman that I met. She was from Brooklyn. I was from Jersey. I worked in Manhattan, and I was actually living in Brooklyn myself, but we met at the restaurant I was a maitre d' at in the middle of Manhattan, and we became great friends. But I was going through a lot of health issues, as was she. So we bonded for like less than a year. We were on the phone every day chatting and doing this, and we had this bond, and everything became about health issues. And then suddenly when I awakened, or was like, oh, I think the health issues are going, we never had a fight. We just didn't talk to each other, and I haven't spoken to her in 15 years. And it's not that I dislike her. We didn't walk away disliking each other. It's just that we both served a purpose in each other's lives. And with that being said, I want to encourage you to think about people that perhaps are mirroring too much of what you're going through and not there to help you grow out of the situation, but allow you to stay in your shit. Because you know what? We are all going through something. Especially now, we're all going through something. We know the whole world, the pandemic, there's a lot of shit going on. So all of us got something going on. I don't care how rich, famous, or wealthy, or whatever you got going on. Everybody's going through something. But the thing is this. It's like right now your vibe is, I'm desperate, I'm this, and then are you surrounding yourselves, whether it's on the phone, because we know it's social distancing, or are you around people that are telling you and helping you to sit in your shit instead of uplifting you out of it? Now, not to say that we can't have our little pity parties, but I always say you got to be a guest at the party. You don't want to host it, okay? You can be a guest for a few minutes and move along, hop along chaosity. But the point is, I'm going to encourage you to look at the people around you and the things that are around you that you're attracting, and are those things that are serving your highest good? Because also if you're attracting it, it's usually a mirror reflection of you. And that's where we've discussed this before. You have to address or think about, why am I attracting this person that's also in a desperate situation? And once again, I'm not talking about this pandemic, because everybody is going through something, okay? But we also want to make sure that the people that are around us are there to help us grow from it. And we can each be a sounding board, but yet uplift, so that we don't stay in that negative space. So with Dorothy and her comrades, what I love about it is they all feel like they're in need of something, right? They believe that they lack something, whether it's self-imposed or they were told that. However, they have this hope that once they go to the Wizard of Oz, they will get this. So the thing is this, they're each helping each other. You know, when the Scarecrow asked her, can I come with you? She's like, sure, that'd be great. Then when the Tin Woodman asked, they're like, yeah, that's great, the more the merry. And now the Lion asked, and they were like, fantastic. So what was great is they're sharing the adventure and sharing the hope for the future, knowing that if they can help, if the wizard could help me, they can maybe help you. So that's kind of the thing that we look forward in life to. Having people around us that understands perhaps our plight, but we can also grow together. And sometimes we don't grow together, and that happens in our intimate relationships. You know, you can be with someone a very long time, whether you're married or in that relationship, and then one day, you know, you wake up a changed person, or the other person has, and you say to them, or they have said to you, I've just outgrown this relationship. Hey, this is life. So the thing is, I'm going to encourage you to think about the people that are around you. Are they growing with you? Are they aiding you and your growth and your journey? And are you doing the same for them? And, you know, if you feel like you're not doing the same for them, I would just encourage you to step up to the plate and be like these comrades where, you know, they're the cheerleader. And if they're not doing it for you, think about, like, you know what, maybe you need to attract new people, because at the end of the day, your vibe attracts your tribe. I think I've said that 4 times already in this video, but it's really important. I look around during this pandemic how I live alone, right? And I have a really great tribe of friends, and I looked at who are my friends during this time, who's calling me up, who's making the attempt to, even if it's not calling, but check in with a text on Instagram, what have you. And then you say, okay, these are my people, who's like offering to do things for me that I would never expect to, because, you know, you're just like, wow, you realize who your friends who got you back, you know, your ride or die bitches. So I'm just going to encourage you to think about that. And I think it's important to know that. Now, your ride or die bitches can be your family. There's nothing wrong with family, friends, it's whomever. It can be your mentor. So what I love about this book is, they keep picking up a new person who thinks they lack something, but they still have hope that everything is going to be resolved, but they're going together on the journey, and they all are holding a space for each other. So I think that's important too, to hold a space for yourself first, and then when a friend is in need, hold a space for them if they can't see it, and hopefully your friend is doing the same for you. So my friends, for a very short chapter, I think we've gleaned a lot, and once again, just going to encourage you to think about what you're vibing and who is part of your tribe. And if they're mirroring stuff that you don't like, we've just talked about this, you may want to rethink that. Or if they are, be grateful for it. Also, just think about right now who's supporting you on your journey, who's truly supporting you on your journey. And if they are supporting you, are you supporting them on their journey, vice versa? And if they aren't supporting you, I'm going to encourage you to think about that too. Because, you know, a lot of times, we think our friends have our backs, and they don't. And this isn't being negative. It's just about the simple fact that sometimes people are just jelly. They're jealous. And you know what? They just can't help it. Well, anyway, cue the wonderful noise from the outside. We are going to end this conversation, but I want to thank you for joining me again, hoping that you got a little entertainment, hoping you got a little inspiration, and hoping that you stay in the flow and the know of who truly you are and how truly blessed you are. Okay, my friends, sending you tons of light, love, bliss, music. I don't know why music, but music. And you know what? I always send a little magic Wishing you a magical day, magical thoughts, magical inspiration. Remember, you are magic. Magic is just waiting for you to release it. So release that magic, okay? All right, my friends, stay beautiful. Talk to you soon. Bye.